Section 5, Locomotive and Railway Car Maintenance. Generally, the maintenance of a railway car is essentially effectively in safe operation, regular scheduled inspection, servicing, preventing maintenance is followed. The problems that can degrade an effective and safe operation can be discovered and corrected before that they can cause serious maintenance costs or accidents. Locomotive railway cars. Equipment's maintenance term. Team effort involving railroad supervisors, railway crews, maintenance and personnel, individual activities that they maintenance requirements are more stringent, but not reduce them to installation. Commanders shall have procedures to maintain systems. Particular system will automatically remind maintenance personnel when a maintenance action inspection services must be performed. The system shall be installation commanders with warnings enough to achieve the effective allocation of the maintenance resources and computer tickler system, which is software that displays 60 days, 30 days, 10-day warnings upon the computer startup and is preferred. The daily locomotive maintenance department maintenance personnel shall ensure a locomotive checked and served priorly daily operation. Form 5, Appendix B, continuous list of items inspection personnel check during daily inspection. Form 5 shall be maintained for at least 90 days. Quarterly locomotive maintenance department. Maintenance department. During quarterly inspections, maintenance personnel shall inspect all items required daily inspection. The inspections manufacture recommendations for quarterly inspections and the following: the air hoses, inspect the air signs of damages, renew brake pipe hoses every 8 years, batteries or dirt corrosion and cleaning, clear battery terminals and proper bracing and battery compartments, use the proper safety equipment when serving batteries, drive belts, check all belts for cracks, fraying, abrasion, and dust, replace and as necessary, engine for loose parts, components, leaks for fuel, lubrication, cooling system, low oil, high temperature, over speed, shutdown system, electrical relay, contactors, wipe silver space contact using cleanse, lint-free cloth, renew the contact points as necessary, new work, weak or broken springs, tighten, loosen, screw nuts, connections and system, deorganize operative devices usually and detect friction from the binding. Always use the lockout lag-out procedure. Charging generator. Check for proper output. Pedestal, journal boxes and plates. Check for damage, excessive worn wheel wear plates, electrical brushes, check for brushes, traction motors and charging generator for excessive wear of damage. It requires air gauges. All gauges are used for engineering, braking, and training. Locomotive tested comparison dead weight test or test gauge designed for his purpose of maximum area of 3 psi. Safe, applicable, later handheld steps, etc. Check for defects and proper mounting and air brake system. Check for air brake leaks and proper operation. Brake shoes. Check for thickness, remaining and replacing if necessary. Brake line. Check for pin cotters, linkage ailments, and adjustment necessary. Lights, headlights, beacon lights, ground lights, cab lights, step lights, coupler lights, marker lights. Proper operation as necessary. Horn, bell. Check for proper operation and repair as necessary. Windshield wipers. Check for operation and repair as required. Sanders for proper operation, adjustment as necessary. Sparker, arrest and cleaning as required as manufacturer and procedure. Event recorders verify operation security, and note that all quarterly inspections shall be documented on the shop repair order maintained in the historical records for a life of equipment. Annual locomotive maintenance department. Annual inspection of locomotive and personnel shall inspect and require quarterly inspection. Manufacturer recommendations for quarterly inspections following: wheels inspect for chips, gouges, cracks, flat spots, narrow flange, high flange, and thickness resurfaces replace as necessary. Center plates, bearings check, wear rings, wear plates for excessive wears of cracks, damages, repairs, and required lubricated bearings. Side bearings checked for clearance and required renowned worn plate of the rollers in CFR 49 Part 229.69 guidance of tolerancy. Engine cooling tank, flush and full, and refill according to environmental regulation. Fuel oil tank check for some of the moisture of the containment, drain and clean as required according to the environmental local fire safety regulations. Air braking filters check and replace filler and device and dirt collectors and air compressor, air lines and air reservoir lines. Example of bearings planing inspection, surfacing, pitting, grooving, scoring, excessive place required inspection, journal boxes, replaces required unit. Use CFR 49.9.64 as a guideline. Axle bore bearings, roller, inspecting the lubrication loss or overheating, ensuring the axle and screws is tight. In the trucks, visual inspection, trucks spring, equalizer springs and distortion damage, repair for CFR 49.229.67. Gears, remove lower gear cases, cover and inspect axle, drive, gears and pinions for signs of excessive wears of damage and clean smudge inside a gear case or relubricate gears. A brake system control valves, clean, repair brake cylinder, relay, feed reducing valves. Use test stand if available, otherwise a manufacturer troubleshooting guide. Air compressor, check for putter output out. Cycling, clean, adjusting, lubricating, compressing cover units. CFR 49 manufacturer specification as guideline. Couplers check for proper operation and swing height. Excessively worn components using CFR 49 Part 229 as guideline. Track motor or noise position inspection. Worn or frayed pads insured and retainers and such nuts and cutter pins as secure. Traction motor support bearing lubricators. Inspect the proper operation of lubrication is recommended. Traction motors and traction gears. Blow out the clear dry air. Inspect out blow out with clean dry air. Inspect and accumulator brush holders and salters, bands, connections, and resurface cumulatory when required. No, an activity that does not have the capability to repair defectives discovered during an annual inspection shall do the most economic, the most following: replace the new higher component, which will eliminate the defective. Refer to a depot level repair facility. If no case, shall locomotive be allowed to operate with a defective that it degrades the safety. The biannual locomotive maintenance every 2 years. During a biannual inspective locomotive maintenance, personnel shall inspect all items required for the inspection. Manufacturer recommendation: annual inspection and the following: air brake system. A valve portion is the air brake system that should be removed, cleaned, and serviced. Use CFR 49 Part 229 as a guideline. Main air reserve tank. For a main air reserve tank, a telltale hole is drilled in the surface at hydrostatic pressure of 155 psi. A hammer tested over the entire tank shall be conducted over 2 years, not including aluminum tanks, using by CFR 49 Part 229.3. Well, not 1.3, but 229.31 as guidance. Locomotive maintenance general requirements is all requirements of replacement, and any placement of locomotive shall be compatible with part being replaced for open exposed gears, pinions, exposed moving parts and mechanisms, pipes carrying hot gases, high voltage equipment, switches, circuit breakers, contractors, relays, grids, resistors, fuses, and non-hazardous locations equipped with guards to prevent the personal injury. Exhaust stack shall be sufficiently high often provide entry products and combustion into the cab and the compartments under usual operating conditions. Battery compartments shall be ventilated and prevent accumulation of explosive gas. The letter F shall be legible on each side of the locomotive near the end of the identification card. Identification purposes will known be as the front end. The emergency brake valve shall be legibly stenciled near in each brake valve and should be shown at the adjacent badge plate. The main reserve of each locomotive shall be equipped with at least one safety valve. There shall be an accumulation of pressure of more than 15 psi above maximum working air pressure. Each compressor governor uses a continuation with an automatic brake system shall be adjusting compressor when the main reservoir pressure is not less than 15 psi above the maximum brake pressure. It will not stop the compressor for the reservoir pressure. It is increased to 10 pounds. Local brake piston shall provide sufficient brake shoe clearance when released, and the locomotive brake piston shall not exceed 1.5 inches unless until travel when applied, and shall not exceed 8 inches total. The locomotive brake cylinder minimum shall be 30 psi, the latest requirement. A lever rod brake beam hanger brake pin not being worn more than 30% off the cross-sectional area, cracked, broken, or missing. All pins should be secured in place with cotters, splits, keys, and nuts. Brake shoes should fasten brake shoes, keys, aligned relations to prevent localized thermal stress to the edge of the rim of the flange. The leakage of the control air reservoir-related piping, pneumatically operated controls, and should not be averaged at 3 psi per minute for 3 minutes only shall they be visible. Bearing boxes, no bearing boxes shall be cracked in the extent and that they leak oil. No prevent appliance of locomotive except for the wheels. Flexible, non-metallic side pipe, extension pipe, strip cock arms shall be less than 2.5 inches above the top of the rail. On standard gauge locomotives, distances between the eyes of the flanges and narrow flange wheels shall not be less than 53 inches or 53.5 inches. The distance of the inside gauge of the wide flange gauge shall not be less than 53 inches or more than 53.25. The distance between the flanges mounted on the same axle measured to the back. The 3 points equal space shall not vary for more than 1/4 inch. Although the doors cover the plates guarding high voltage equipment shall be marked with danger high voltage or with the word danger. The normal voltage carried by part of the protected. Cab seats shall be mounted and braced. Car doors shall be equipped with secure and operable latching devices. Flooring, cables, pans, waste compartments shall be free of oil, water, waste obstruction, creating slipping, tripping, and fire hazard. Floors should be properly treated with providing footing and broken front, rear facing locomotive cab windows should be replaced. CFR 49 Part 223 brake side facing windows shall be replaced in CFR 49.2.3 railway car importance of inspection and maintenance. 7. Railway car inspection, maintenance, and maintenance department. Rail car inspection, maintenance department. Annual inspections, visual inspections of the railway determine readiness for operation, need for essential repairs, and performed on the including shell items. Clean oil tests and stencils, COT and S shall be conducted for all brake systems other than AB, AB/1/B, ABC/1, ABD/1, or ABD/L, ABD/1/B, ABDW/W, ABDW/1-B. COT and S shall be conducted whenever the brake system fails in a single car air brake test. Newer models and modifications may require less COTS and manufacturer's recommendations for the models and the modifications to the safety appliances, ladders, handheld steps, etc. Airlines, air hoses, including all fastenings, brake shoes, couplers, draft gears, keys and locks, wheels, journal bearings, journal boxes, handbrake, truck frame, springs, doors, flooring, and 13 abnormal, loose, and broken and hanging equipment. The triannual inspection consults Appendix A special requirements items listed below. A triannual is 36 months inspection, and 31 inspection railway car determine the readiness and operation need for essential repairs should be performed, including annual items plus the following additional items: brake beams, brake hangers, draft yokes, brake rods, levers, linkage, junk bolsters, aft gear followers, truss bearers, cross ties, axles, under floor stringers, side bearings, center bearings, lift car inspected, lubricated, axle bearings, planning, removal bearings inspected, and pitting, grooving, scoring, excessive inspected wedges, replacing journal base boxes, rear seal, lid seal, renewal journal boxes, bearing, lubricating orders, axle roller inspection for the single sign of lubrication loss or overheating, tightening, end cap, cruise inspecting bearing adapters for excessive wear. 72 months inspection, consult appendix for a specific requirement of items listed below, and 72 months inspection of 72 of railway car and determining the readiness of operation needed for essential repairs shall be performed. Annual 36-month items plus the following COT-NS items and COTS and conduct in the following brake system not applicable: AB, AB1, AB1, B-B, ABC1, ABD, ABD/L, ABD/1/B, ABDW.B, or ABDW.W, ABDW./1/B. Newer models or modifications require the COT-NS manufacturer's recommendations and models and modifications. Clean assemblies, renew all parts and brake control valve, including surface portions of pipe brackets, in lieu and hospital repairs, and replace the value of commercial rebuilt at the same time. Clean, retain, valve seat, clean, collector, clean air brake cylinder, renew packaging, tightening all glands and compression type fittings, clean modulating valve by all rubber parts, clean all cylinder results valve and replace all rubber parts, test operation, clean vent valves, replace pipe brackets, strainers, install new air gaskets, perform single car air test, require unscheduled inspections, and consult Appendix A specific requirements and items listed below and special informed and following conditions. The COT-NS is in conduct with any of the following apply when the breakage valve is submerged in any fluid of power release substance, improductively broken, damaged surfaces, any air brake, any emergency. When broken or damaged, emergency pipe bracket portion is renewed. When the broken cap, screw, stud, secretement, bolts, and pipe is bracket portion is when necessary to remove the bracket from the car. When the signal sign is a car of a brakes and test fails that determines the occurs or maintenance inspection, that it shall be in accordance with local procedures, and the incident or manner shall be established that it should be CFR. The maintenance that shall the wheel, axles, and trucks. When the purpose and the report of the specific malfunction of a car, it shall be inspected to determine the case of malfunction. Exercise the journals and the weight of the railway car, supported 8 bearings and bearings at 8 truck frames, and is lubricated and wick action and journal box oil suck. If a railway car extends a period of time, the weight of the car forces lubricate between bearings and axles, drive and bearings, and determining in 2 ways. And first list lubrication when the car initially moved, and after period of idleness causes friction damage. The second, dry bearing causes a galvanic erosion of bearing. Activist shall be the program that ensures the railway car to journal bearings at minimum 5 car lengths of every 45 days. The program should address the maintenance of every car area, every car movement records ever easily determine which cars that have not moved in the last 45 days of movement can be scheduled. The decontamination. Decontamination activities that handle energetic materials that has discovered the floorboards of the railway car during the railway car maintenance, in addition to activities that have serious fires and maintenance facilities and maintenance procedures are ignited in energetic material that has not known activity contaminate railway cars. Split-term dangers pose a hazardous material and were fully understood when less emphasis placed on a prompt decontamination of personal or retired activities transferred to railway cars among themselves corporately. Memories of past spills disappeared, and possibility of harmful contamination remaining has been disappeared as contained railway cars threats and the railway environmental risk away associated and activity of ignitable corrosivity, toxicity, and naval ordnance. The safe community is concerned about explosive safety risk check, which can be presented. Energetic material must be performed. Activities are directed to have procedures to prevent injury, damage, environmental harm resulting from the maintenance being performed and contained in railway cars. The procedure should be that the railway is checked in containment prior to the maintenance. However, the railway car does not be checked through their routine service operations, which operation is unlikely to involve contamination if it is present, and the procedure is adhering to requirements of the Code 40 Code Federal Regulations, Parts 261, 262, 265, 268, and 270, EPA Publication SW 846, and applicable state and local laws. These procedures make ensure and tests that show that the car is contaminated with corrosive, toxic, reactive, or ignitable materials, and the railway car may be a considerable indicator that the car is contaminated. Corrosive, toxic, reactive, and ignitable materials appropriate and installationable will ensure and contaminate in accordance with the DOD and EPA requirements. Guidelines for local determination.